Karen Reed trial, you were saying.
Yeah. So that's what the big hubbubaloo up here in the Northeast is right now, is the Karen Reed murder case. And so what it is she was dating a cop, or married to a cop up here, Boston cop. They went out drinking, found him dead the next morning on the front lawn in the snow. Um, she gets charged for it, murder, but it really, as all these evidence has come out, there's like a lot of mishandling of the evidence, and it's really starting to look like it's all kind of set up to pin it on her, and it was someone else that did it, and it looks like all the cops were in on it. Um, there's a documentary on HBO right now about it, the first trial, and they are in the midst of of the second trial now.
This sounds like some Gotham City stuff
Oh,
planned.
dude, it is. It's wild. It's it's wild, and I mean, it's all being live, like on like streamed on YouTube and shit. So people are all tuning in, watching and stuff. It's it's a big deal up here. It's a big deal up here. Um,
What does everyone think about the new tariffs on foreign movies up there?
um,
Because I mean, you guys, that's what you guys used to do constantly, and you said that there are not really many movies being made up there at the
no,
moment,
they're
right?
not. Oh, a big part of it was, of course, the industry took a hit at during COVID, the first
Yeah.
thing. And then after that, when we came back near the end of like the 2020, when production started back up, um, there was kind of a looming strike, um, and that got resolved, and then it was great for some years, man. Uh, and then the writer strike happened, and historically, the for the first time, like the actors struck as well with the writers. Really sticking it to the studios. But a lot, again, it was like it was such a halt and everything that like things started back up again, and then the LA wildfires happened. So a lot of things got delayed more. Uh, and now with the foreign possible, because I don't know if that's actually a thing. It's just something he said.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm not
Maybe
like stressing it yet, but like if that, I think in my own, I'm not like I'm an art guy in the like I work art department, but like I feel like that would really impact a lot of the theaters, and I feel like we would really lose the theaters at that point, because they get a lot of films that are filmed, outside of the U.S.
I
That
don't know. I've heard people say that it is supposed to help like the filming industry, so I didn't know what
yeah, it
your
does. And also, like, I don't want Lord of the Rings getting filmed in fucking Utah. You know, like,
fair.
like no offense, Utah, but I'm just, you know what I mean. Like, there's, I want to see films from Japan and Korea and other places, because it's awesome. I like seeing the art from other places, and I don't want it to be something crazy like that. And yeah, I mean, a lot of productions are going overseas, but a lot of those productions need to be overseas because that's where the setting is, for it. Yeah, that's what's going on up here right now.
It's an off-topic question, but I've been meaning to ask you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he said it. He said one thing. So I mean, like until they move on it and stuff. I don't know. Um, I know some of the productions have kind of been like, we don't know what's happening, but I mean, like they're filming here, so
Nobody in the United States knows what's happening.
yeah, no one knows what's happening. But like a lot of what's like delaying some productions right now are just trying to recover from LA wildfire. Basically, trying to get the fucking engine starting again. It's like a big locomotive, you know.
Yeah.
Got to build up some steam again. What's going on down in McMinnville? Any reports?
Nope.
Anybody?
Nope.
Nothing. Ah,
Nothing.
Just rain,
Nothing
rain every
new.
day.
just raining a lot. That's good.
Yeah.
Gonna be a healthy summer down there.
Be humid.
Green.
Yeah.
I'll be humid for the convention then. It'll be good.
Be deadly from that mountain.
Oh yeah. You can't have another heat stroke.
Be my third.
You'll be can't be doing that, my friend.
Nope, I'm good.
Well, welcome everyone to the 40 in Tennessee podcast. I'm Josh here with Randy in Houston. Got some weird topics. No guests this week. Did you guys see?
I'm gonna try to get one next week. Talking to somebody, but we'll see.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Okay. Yes, we'll talk after the show. Yeah. So, NASA. Is it NASA? It was someone else, right? They used the new James Webb, but they're
using the James Webb Telescope. Yeah.
Yeah. Possible indication of life on a planet. Possible. Not for certain yet. A lot of the indications are there. They're still monitoring. I was actually looking into a bunch of stuff on it. When I say looking into, I mean watching YouTube videos. I don't know if that's what you guys mean too.
I think that's what modern. That just means what modern Western,
yeah,
Western society people do.
Yeah.
It's like the way it was being explained was that it's a place that's they didn't think that they would possibly detect life. They figured it would be a little bit more, I don't know how to say it, I don't know, unique situation, and this is a kind of unremarkable little system. I think there's it's a red dwarf sun star.
Yeah.
And it's only 2 planets.
Yeah, but the planet's close enough that it's in the Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, and both planets are close enough that they both affect each other too. They're gravitational effect because the planet is what they suspect is tidal locked to the star.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what that all means, and I get it. Oh, what also? It takes how long to orbit their star? It's super short. I don't know if you saw that.
Was it 14 hours?
No, it wasn't like that.
No?
It was so many days or something like that, or,
okay.
or only maybe a few months or a few weeks or something like that.
I'd seen nothing about this, so this is new to me.
Oh,
my YouTube algorithm is different than yours.
I saw it on the news, on CNN. They talked about it briefly, and then I was like, oh, what's that? So I kind of was NASA detect life. I'm like, question mark. What the fuck? What they're detecting is certain, I think, carbon and methane and stuff.
Methane, yeah.
Yeah. Now I don't know how they detect that.
It's the James Webb Telescope, and I'm not going to be able to explain this.
Just they're just looking.
Yeah, but it has a broad spectrum analyzer on the camera that can take apart the visual spectrum, the color spectrum of the light that it receives, and it can tell based off that visual spectrum what elements are within that spectrum.
Okay.
Are you actually following?
Yeah, I am. No, I got it.
He said this long word, and you're like, oh, okay, and I'm like,
no, I got what he meant.
I got you.
So I'm like, how do they? And I know they have sensors and stuff, but I've always been like, how are they?
So basically, long story short, they've got a camera that can basically take color photos of the elements.
Different, yeah.
Yeah.
He said colors and spec. See, I'm an art brain guy. I was like, okay, they're looking for different. Now it's tidal locked, meaning it doesn't spin.
One side only faces the star at all times. The other side is away from the star.
Huh. Interesting. So one side's always in daylight, one side's always in darkness.
Yeah.
Huh. And it orbits a red star, a red dwarf star.
And one of the things is because it's a red dwarf, it's not kicking off the kind of heat that our star does.
Mm-hmm.
Red dwarfs are cooler, So even though it's closer to the star, it's probably comparable to our planet temperature wise.
It's supposed
So
to be colder. I think it was like
oh, is it
28 degrees or something like that.
okay? But well, it's still that's within like Earth temperatures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, but it would mean that even though that one side is tidal locked and always going towards the star, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's sun baked in a desert. It could, there could be water on it. That's what they're saying. That another thing
Yeah.
that it picked up was water in the atmosphere.
Now this is where we're gonna go weird with it. There was an old story, I guess.
It was an old PDF.
It was an old PDF, and
An old PDF from
it
back
was
in the 2000s.
that came out, and it was supposedly a KGB agent's like notebook, and it was a documentation of all the KGB agent was part of like a crash retrieval team.
Yeah.
And the notebook had every documented species that they had recovered. And there was like 28 of them. And it kind of broke down where they were from and all this stuff. Now, one of those 28 had a like all the other species said you don't mess with that one.
Yeah. They're territorial.
They're very like territorial, but they want to be left alone. You leave them alone, they'll leave you alone, right? Like type of deal. It's a tidal lock planet that orbits a red dwarf star
where
it's within 10,000 light years, which is this planet.
It's 10 light years away.
So I don't remember the species. You started bringing them up, but
they called them in the booklet. They named them the Tarantuloids because they look like spiders.
That's horrifying.
Yeah. But it claimed that these things had the technological abilities to mask themselves and make themselves look human.
Oh, I don't like that.
So
I would rather see them like that than a spider.
Yeah, but like thankfully we're not finding people in giant cocoons.
That's a Men in Black like nonsense, man. Like I mean,
yeah.
your buddy Al that you're taking to the bar with you, some freaking spider that's all curled up with a man suit.
Hold on, guys. I gotta reveal something. Tarantuloids.
Tarantuloids.
Yeah. How would they even? I don't know.
That's a cool name.
It like the minute they started, like we were going through, I was watching one of the videos and I was like, man, I'm something. This is reminding me of something, and I had to go dig through some stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, that KGB species book, that supposed KGB species book, and I thought it was really cool. There was another documentary I watched. Now here's where like how much you can trust it, because the person they're interviewing and talking about it is Richard Doty, who's synonymous with like driving a man insane.
Yep.
With like alien conspiracies and stuff. But it was in a recent documentary that happened the last couple of years, I think. I think it was on Netflix. And I think it was part of Encounters, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But or something. I have like his interview from that specific thing like saved on my computer, but it's him talking about like the first briefing he got when he like joined that team, and he like describes like the different aliens that they showed him, and there was one that was like an alien that was like a mantis or like bulbous, had like a lot of bulbous like appendages or something like that. I don't know. That didn't sound good, but like this gets into like what like forms of life could like take place. You know what I mean?
Back in the day they used to talk about that scientists, like NASA scientists, would make fun of like alien abductees because they would say that, well, why would they look like us? Why would they have 2 arms and 2 legs and a head and 2 eyes and a mouth? If they evolved on another planet, they'd be completely alien. They used to say that all the time. They'd be completely alien from us. We wouldn't even know what they look like. They'd be so alien. And now it's taken a completely, they've turned it around. And now most mainstream science says that if you have planets that have comparable gravity, comparable geography, you'd basically have convergent evolution happening where things on a planet that could be 40 light years away from us would be evolving and similarly to what we would be. Not necessarily humans, but like, you might have animals on that planet that look like deer.
Mm.
So you might have humanoid, 2-eyed, like 6 foot tall species that ended up being there because that's exactly how their sentient species evolved, was the same convergent evolution.
Because we came from shrews, right? Didn't we? That's like the theory is like we evolved from shrew or something like that.
They're like proto mammals back in the day.
Yeah. So
it's way back. That's like
Permian period. Yeah, long. Way back.
280 million years, roughly.
Yeah. The dinosaurs fucking reigned supreme for like millions and millions,
140 million years. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We have been here for a second.
Yeah, literally. Like I've even seen where there's been some scientists that have recently started openly, kind of suggesting we should look into this, what's called the Silurian hypothesis. If you've ever heard of that?
No.
And the Silurian hypothesis is basically that do we know that there wasn't advanced civilizations millions of years ago?
Oh.
They could have run their course and collapsed and be gone, and we'd have never known it.
Yeah,
because we're not looking for them.
Because they could just be ruins on a planet.
Yeah, and so what they started doing was one study started looking at ice cores going back 50 plus million years and looking for signs of industrialization in the ice cores.
Oh yeah, because it'd be like captured in the water.
Right. And so they actually found 2 spots within those ice cores that suggested that, although it didn't necessarily say that, yes, there's evidence of a civilization being here, it suggested that there was something happening on this planet during those times that was very reminiscent of like pollution. And one of them was 52 million years ago.
52 million years ago. What was going on 52 million years ago?
Right.
What dinosaurs were around at that point?
Nothing. They were gone by then.
They were gone too. So
yeah.
It was just like
they were gone by 66 million years ago was when the extinction happened.
So that
55 million years ago would have been during the early Miocene.
Huh.
You'd have had like giant mammals everywhere.
Yeah, the Earth was a little bit hotter, wasn't it? A little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So things got bigger.
Yeah. Things still got big. They just didn't get dinosaur big.
Oh man. Which means it's like that's a long time. That's a long time ago. And then the stuff that like Graham Hancock is, talking about is like only 12,000 years ago or 16,000.
Which is like seconds.
Yeah. Comparatively, it's like what was going on back then?
Yeah.
Hmm.
During the Ice Age, I'm convinced, not from Graham Hancock, but I'm convinced from just like all the similarities we have with so many ancient civilizations that all talk about they all have the same golden era that they talked about. I'm convinced that we had some sort of high civilization back in the day that we just have forgotten about.
Yeah. I mean, it's convincing. I am one of those people that's like, we should look more into those myths and legends and stuff. And it's like, I know science is there, and that's, science is facts. But like,
Science has got to be willing to look at it first, though.
Yeah, they got to look at it first.
But also, for a long time,
they also have to know that there's something there, and like I think a lot of stuff is like on the ocean floor.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, I just think I like what Graham Hancock says is like we're a species with amnesia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at Florida during the Ice Age was enormous. I mean, I think it was like Texas sized, and most of all of that is underwater now. So during just 15,000 years ago, when we know that there was humans living here, what would have been the most productive land for them to live on is now gone, and we don't even go looking for in that area for archaeology. At all. And they're surprised when they're like, "Oh, look, here's the, these standing stones that we found." There was, I don't remember what they called it, but they called it like the
Bimini Road.
No, they called this the Miami Stonehenge, I believe is what they called it.
I think I know what you're talking about. I think you talked about this.
But they found it like back in the early 2000s, and it was like a stone complex underwater, and they were so surprised about it. And even back then, Graham Hancock was like, I mean, yeah, that's where you're going to find this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, in the end, like, if they were so long ago, like, there's only going to be so much we're going to find of it, which means we're not going to be able
Those
to...
will be under sediment now.
Yeah, and, like, we're not going to be able to decipher. Yeah, exactly. Like, even if there was something 50 million years ago, like, there's nothing left of it. We'll never know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. What did they say, like, if we was to go extinct right now, like, what... I think they said like Mount Rushmore would be left. Like people could tell, like, oh, somebody was here.
Yeah.
Yep. Mount Rushmore would be the last thing humans ever made. Yep. Followed closely, if I'm not mistaken, by the pyramid and the Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
And that dam in China, that dam in China, the Three Rivers Dam. That dam is also one of those ones that will be around forever, basically, before it's finally,
yeah,
destroyed completely.
It's wild.
But that's crazy to think about, 1,000 years from now.
Yeah, just 1,000.
If we had something like a nuclear war or something like that that would reset humanity in a sense. What would people think the Hoover Dam even was?
Oh, yeah.
Darby, I swear to God, Darby would say, "Well, it's ritual. It's for ritual."
Yeah, it's for ritual.
Well, like, if an EMP went off today, do you realize like how much technology would be gone? And Darby was one of the ones that told me that, like, to do one of the old school like tube TVs, like nobody even knows how those were built anymore.
Yeah,
like, because we advanced past it, and everybody's like, no, we don't need that anymore.
Yeah. It becomes obsolete, so it's just like, wait, how do we do that again?
Well, they've decommissioned most TV stations to even broadcast like that. So like, you wouldn't even have the
that infrastructure
for it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably all been like decommissioned and stuff, so it'd be like probably by now a lot of that stuff's been either destroyed or just like hobbyists have it. That'd be it. Who has that knowledge is his hobbyists, which is it's true.
Sitting John Teeter back for a
fucking floppy disk, yeah.
It's hard to recall now, like, life without the internet.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I was there for it.
Yes,
like, I was.
Yeah.
I unfortunately remember enough of life before the internet that it's not that hard for me.
Yeah.
I was like in middle school, right when like the internet, like AOL chat and stuff happened. So I was like right there when it happened. Yeah.
I just graduated high school when the internet like came into being, basically.
Like, yeah.
Where you could log on at least.
Yeah, things started popping off. Things started getting good.
Poor Ian. What would he do if an EMP went off? What would Ian?
I don't want to imagine, dude. That what he wouldn't have. I don't know if my son, the youngest, would be able to handle the world.
Oh man.
So what do you
if it was like zombie apocalypse, I could hand him a gun. He'd probably be pretty proficient with it. But
so what do you think's happening on this possible planet with life? If it's not not tarantuloids.
If it was tarantuloids, like you said, the other alien species supposedly claimed that you did not want to mess with this species because they would run you out of their system. They were that territorial that if you got near their planetary system, they would run you out of the whole star system.
We need to make sure we don't send a probe in their territory. I hope this is where alien intervention finally happens, because we're like, we're gonna send a probe over there and see what happens, and then fucking that's when the mothership shows like, look, guys, I know you're new here, like, don't be starting shit. But that just reminds me, I'm like, is this gonna be Starship Troopers now? Like, we're heading that direction if that's the case. Like, to Klindathu.
I'm doing
the bug invasion has happened.
Would you like to know more?
But that, like, goes into, like, again, how life is formed. But, like, what else could form there if it's, like, a tidal lock planet around a red dwarf? Like, what else?
Well, usually in planets like that, where they theorize life, like, kind of emerges on the barrier. Like there where the sun and the light, the sun and the dark meet. But I mean that's all just I think life is a lot more resilient than that.
Yeah.
If life spawns on a planet, it's going to take over every niche it can.
I think like, and I'm just like curious, like, because they're around, their star is different than ours. Like how do they see? Like like spectrum do they see in? You know what I mean?
If they're around a red giant or a red dwarf, they'd be like
infrared, right?
Yeah, you'd think.
Like, on like that.
They'd have like predator vision, like it shows in the movies, where it's just pure red all the time.
No. There's
like spider googly eyes.
Oh no! Worst nightmare. The first planet with life we find is the spider planet. No.
But it sounds a little bit like Krypton, so.
Is Krypton tidal locked?
I don't know about that, but I mean it's around the red dwarf, right?
Oh yeah. There's a red giant.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
So I mean, like, that gets into some weird. Something else you wanted to talk about was consciousness. Is like, life finds a way, and like, I guess consciousness finds a way, because like.
Well, the whole thing with consciousness is recent studies, especially talking about like, is consciousness a byproduct of biological processes, or is biological processes tapping into consciousness?
Okay.
Basically, am I me? Like, is my brain me, or is my brain picking up me? Is the better,
like
way
you're
to
just
put
an
it.
antenna.
Yeah. And there's a lot of studies that are kind of moving towards like that. I'm more of an antenna picking up me than I am,
Then where the fuck am I?
Me.
Like, that's.
Well, what it is you're picking it's kind of going towards or pushing towards. You're picking up this one consciousness, like level, dimensional barrier of consciousness, but it's your biological process is what makes it you.
That's why you have so many archetypes of people.
So it's like you're like the fingerprint. If that makes sense.
That's weird. That makes me feel weird.
Yeah, it does kind of make me feel weird.
And that begs the question, just like, where is it coming from? Where's the radio signal coming from? And is it like going to everything with a biological, like signature? Like the tarantuloids?
No. I've met some people that know.
Okay.
My first thought was my dog, which is there's nothing in there, and I love it, but the signal's not on.
Maybe some people have
his signal can only, or his antenna is only capable of like accessing a very simplified version of the process.
Yeah, food, that's it, treats.
Yeah.
So, and then there was a supposed, I'm going to say it again, there was a supposed CIA document that talked about this. They looked into this, like, like where did the spirit go type of thing, and what they kind of discovered is that we're all part of like one consciousness.
Yeah, yeah.
And we kind of come here to have the experiences, and we go back, and we come back in, I guess.
It enriches the source.
Yeah,
is what it talked about.
What the fuck is the source?
Okay, there's a lot of questions there. First off, how did they run this test?
I don't know.
What
it's
did
called,
they do?
I can't remember the fucking process. It's that CIA process of like where they teach you how to take yourself out of the
astral project.
Yeah, it's basically astral projection, but they teach you how to take yourself out of the biological and like unlock your fucking.
You know, they've been talking about and like the with like the whole like telepathy tape stuff and happening. It's kind of like along those stuff where they're having remote viewers.
Like I want to say one thing before we go too much further. When you said that we were going to talk about this, I really thought it was just going to be Bigfoot and mind speak.
Nope.
That's where I thought this entire night was going. So
I can bring it back around. Don't worry. I'm gonna bring it. I'm gonna swing the wheel back. Don't worry.
That's why I was like, I have nothing to say to this subject. I don't know where to go.
That's right. You got to keep us grounded here and be like, guys, do you hear yourself? So
gateway process.
Yes,
that's what it's called.
When they
look it up.
The test.
They were doing this is, I don't know if this was with that like document, but this is when they were doing like the remote viewers trying to find like Soviet subs or satellites and stuff, and they had like a pretty good success rate.
65% on general, yeah. Which is, that's better
true.
than 50%.
If that's true, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
So with that, right? Like, what is that? What's that source, man? Like, where? Like, is that resonating through the universe as a whole? And like,
it literally sounds like they're talking about the freaking force, man.
Yes.
Like
it sounds like
midichlorians. Let's just use nerd speak. Like this, it seems like they're talking about that there is a force that we're all part of and we're all jacked into, and so I don't know. That's the easiest way to describe it.
That's cool. Well, the funny part was when that came up, I had been playing Baldur's Gate 3, the RPG.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, they have like the mind flayers coming through and stuff. And there's like people who are in the lower levels you find that are like followers to the absolute. And that's what they call in the CIA document. They say we all go back to the absolute. And all I can think about is these freaking mind flayers looking to eat my brain.
Yeah. But according to the thing, it's the absolute. I mean, you could use the word God if you want to use that word, but you go back to God when you die, if you want to use that word, or the absolute, and that you then share what you've learned in your life with the absolute, which is everything else and everyone else that's ever been. And you then decide, or it then decides when you reincarnate, and you do it all over again. And
what are you doing in the in between though? He's like, you got to sit down.
You're in the absolute according to the CIA.
Chilling, chilling on the bench.
Your identity. You don't exist. Well, you don't exist.
You exist
because there's not an antenna there to perceive you at the time.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah.
You gotta wait for your new antenna to show up.
So that's where it comes up. Did you ever exist?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like, who the fuck am I? Like at this point.
Would after you die, would you be okay with that?
I mean, would it matter?
I don't think you have much choice.
Yeah.
But, no, I get that. I get that that's logical. But like right now, when you think about that, like,
yeah, I think
are you okay
fine.
that you don't?
But think about it though. Like, hey, what's wrong? Is that bad?
I mean, there's no way to know right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds to me like the same. It sounds to me like it's almost a it almost runs similar to like the Christian mythos of like what heaven is. You go back to God, you spend eternity with God.
Sure, but you keep your personality, soul, whatever. Like you keep that form. Like you have your memories, you have all of that. That's where I'm kind of getting into where
it becomes
like
our memories now.
But that's what I'm asking, if you would actually be okay with that. And I get that y'all are saying like, do we have a
does
choice?
Does it make it sound like God's too socialist for you?
That's the title for this episode, is God's social.
I'm just saying it oversimplifies it if you say that that's heaven. I think that it's not just that. I mean, I could give you proof if you wanted. If you just want to go back to scripture, I mean. So there's multiple times where it's like Moses or Elijah shows up or Jesus shows up. Like they are that person personified. It's not just like a force. You get what I'm saying? Like that's where I'm just coming from, where it's like they still kept.
How do we know it's not the force, just in different biological fucking
I'm arguing it just from a scripture point of view. You're arguing it from a I don't know what to call your socialist.
Socialist heaven. No,
honestly, it sounds to me like the with the gateway thing, the way it talks about with the absolute, it sounds like if you've ever watched DS9, Deep Space Nine, Star Trek, there was have you ever seen it, Houston?
No, dude, I'm not a Trekkie.
Oh, damn it. Well, there's a species on there that are called changelings, right? And they basically turn into like liquid. And on their home world, they go back to like their home world every so often. And they just go back into the liquid ocean that's like made up of all of them. And that's how they share information. And then basically when the blob needs to learn more, it sends out like, emissaries basically.
No, I get it. I get the concept.
No, he's asking how we feel about it now, though. Like being like, if we go back to that, and it's like, it's just all the memories go. I don't know. I guess that's fine.
It doesn't bother me that I'd be deconstructed and it's made up into something else. I really look, man. We're being honest. I don't want to go to the afterlife and be stuck as me. Like, that does not sound fun at all to me. Like, I am a flawed individual. I don't want to go to the afterlife and there be enough of me left that it's like I can remember being this flawed ass individual.
I don't know.
Like, it seems, with this absolute, it seems like I'm going back and I'm becoming more of a purified version. You know what I mean? Like,
I get that. Okay. I've thought about that with scars, or I'll just get like where my hands have turned colors. It's like, after you die, like if I had the choice to, if I was to keep that or not, like I've thought about that before. Whereas like, again, you sit here and you look at, this is a very, I don't know even what to say it, almost like a fairy tale Christian thing, but like, you hear all these things where it's like, oh, you're going to be angels and all that stuff. Like the Bible does not talk about that.
Nope,
like Jesus came back with holes in his hands and being like, hey guys, I am who I am, like this is how I'm going to prove to you. But I'm just thinking, like, if I had that, or like scars that I had, like if I had to get a new body, would I still want this? And it's like, part of it would be like, yeah, I kind of earned that, man. Like all those scars, I got stories with those, and that was, some hard work and some hard lessons, but I don't know, that kind of is who I am. I don't know.
What do you think about reincarnation, Houston?
I don't.
There's like a lot of early Gnostic Christianity sects like believed in reincarnation, like they taught about it. Like, so it's not an anti-Christian doctrine.
No, I don't know about that, but
maybe modern Christian doctrines, but
I think that there were people in the scriptures, again, like the Sadducees, where they would argue that there was no resurrection at all. They thought when you died you were dead, and it's like, no, like, they were trying to tell them like, no, this is kind of how it's gonna be, or whatever. Like, this is what it really means. What do I believe? I don't believe in it, if that, the simplest.
But what would you be upset if you found out it was real? Like if you died And while you're there with God in the absolute or whatever the hell,
I've got to step
you find out like, hey, you got to go do this again.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be upset.
That's exactly why I would be upset. I was like, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to do this again. Like, I put in my time. One was enough.
I served my country. Look, sir, I'm good.
Spoilers, so sorry, but the Dark Tower, that's what the Dark Tower is about.
Yeah.
Is Roland at the end. I mean, he gets to the Dark Tower, opens the door, and he finds out that he has done this countless other times. And he just starts screaming. And then, the next page is the very first page of the first book, and it's kind of a cop-out where it's like, come on, Stephen King, like, there's a little bit of a... I read this for 40 years, which, I mean, this, that's just the publication history, but it's like, you couldn't have done a little bit better of a story. But yeah, I mean, that's terrifying that if you're living in a cycle, having to do this again, I don't even care if I'm a human. Like, that's not even to say if you came back as something else, but like...
Oh, dude.
But what if they're like, we're sending you back, Houston, all right? But now there's flying cars. It's kind of cool. Lightsabers.
Oh, okay. Well, you beat me to it. If they put me in some like Lord of the Rings, it's like, let's go explore the fantasy worlds that you loved. Okay, maybe. But dude, still, it would, the fact that
you have to go back and do the struggle.
Remember, like I wouldn't remember this life. That's I don't like that, man. That makes me anxious just thinking about. That's like, okay.
You can't go to like to honors math, man, if you're still doing 2 + 2.
But what if this isn't your first go around?
It may not, but if this is not my first go around, obviously there's no way for me to know that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. I guess I think where it is like the Dark Tower thing, where it's like, okay, I died. Do I realize at that point, oh, this was my bajillionth time? So that's terrifying.
Do you guys think we'll always meet up and look for Bigfoot?
If you go by a lot of Vedic traditions, like people in your life reincarnate over and over with each other as similar prototypes. So
here we are again, guys.
The Cloud Atlas movie.
Yep.
That trailer is so much better than the movie. That 12-minute trailer.
I really like that movie a lot.
But to go a little bit further, one of my biggest fears is to like get older in life and like have Alzheimer's or something. It's the same thing, man. Like not knowing the people, your kids, your loved ones, all that stuff.
Yeah,
and now we're just doing that on a larger scale.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man.
Okay, but when you go to the absolute, isn't it like you're sharing in everyone's stuff? So maybe.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to. You're supposed to be. I mean, they describe it as you're there with all of your family, all of your loved ones, all of your. It sounds like to me, the CIA found heaven, and it's just socialist. It's way more socialist than they wanted it to be.
I do get that, and I also would say, you don't know until you try. You may go to that and be like, "Holy crap, this is like where you actually belong," more than being in this meat suit. In a person like Randy did, the Men in Black alien.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I would still want to have my consciousness. Being disconnected from that is a weird, anxious fear of mine.
Don't ever try salvia.
No, I do that just by eating an edible. So that is again part of it where it's like, man, I felt like that. Like I legit. What was it? I can't even take decongestants now. Like, I took a Mucinex D and it gave me anxiety like that. Where like, I felt, this was back in the winter. I felt like an Alzheimer's patient. Like I was sitting there talking to Kayla, couldn't remember what I was saying and all that stuff. That's like a terrifying feeling. Like you're aware, it's like, this isn't right. Like I'm almost feel like I'm having a stroke. That's it's too close to that feeling, man. I can't. Hope I just die quickly.
Do you guys think there are 3 tarantuloids sitting on a call looking for some mysterious beast out in the woods?
And what does that beast look like?
Yeah. So now I'm interested if they're tarantuloids. I'm not like worried about. I want to know like what their hobbies are. I want to know like what do they?
They've got a society, right?
Yeah.
So,
or do they? They have to.
It means they've got some kind of culture.
Yeah, what is their sports look like?
Yeah. Because that would be interesting. That's what like I want to know about. And it's like, what do they actually do? Are they like chill? They're over there like smoking or something like that. Like, what's their bar scene look like? You know? I just it interests me when I read is it Project Serpo?
Yeah.
Like when I read that, it was really interesting because when I remember they described the Evans had like a game they played that was like a form of tag, but they'd all like freeze and try to tag each other and stuff.
Yeah, it was all about how you froze and stood when you froze.
Yeah, and then
and the humans said they couldn't they could never really understand what the hell the rules were.
And then they tried to teach the Evans baseball, and the Evans never could really fully grasp baseball either. And so it was like they found that kind of funny. And I was just thinking, I'm like, what are the Tarantuloids doing? I'm thinking about some cool like web basketball. I'm thinking they're like big spiders. So I'm thinking like webs everywhere, and that's kind of interesting. We're also thinking like the swarm, like biological.
That's the way they talked about like the way that they come after you if you go in their system, is they come after you in mass. So
I'm just curious, like, what do they eat then? You know, like
it's spider-like. They didn't say that they were spiders.
I'm just imagining like an 8-armed, big eye with these, you know, like an anamorphized tarantula. You know, and that kind of is freaky. But like,
how in the hell would they be able to make themselves look human? I don't know. And pass on Earth as human, because they supposedly were able to do that.
Well, I mean, like they say, like advanced technology would look like magic to us.
Yeah.
Anyways,
who said they were supposed to look like human? Was that in the book?
They said that they could make them. They had technology to make themselves look human.
Yeah. Gotcha. I love the thought that like an octopus is an actual alien, and we just haven't figured that out yet. Because I mean, they're alien enough.
They have to be.
Yeah, they're not from here.
I love watching like documentaries on them because it's so interesting, man.
They're smart too. I did not realize that until I was like an adult. I did not know how smart they were.
Yeah, the only reason they don't have like they're not more advanced as they are is because their lifespan. They only live like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And so like trying to teach, they don't teach like the next generation. The next generation just has to learn everything like really fast on its own. But if you actually had like I've seen an article where they talked about potentially designing an octopus that could survive and teach its young. And if you did that, you would basically have like culture, octopus culture, which is something that octopuses don't have.
Because they've found like what they've described as like self-portraits that octopus have done.
Yeah, where they've taken bones and coral and laid it out in front of their dens, and it looks like tentacles and suckers on the tentacles.
Have you seen that documentary, My Octopus Teacher?
I've not.
Oh my God, you should. It's about a filmmaker. He goes back to like South Africa, and he would swim in the ocean down there on the coast all the time, and he starts swimming down there again, and he like starts filming it, but he comes upon this little octopus. I say little, but like, you know, I don't know what a normal size octopus is, but befriends it, and is like going in there every day, and like it like is, hey, come help me, like there's something under here, you're big, lift this up, like getting him to like help it like hunt.
Yeah.
And like it's an amazing documentary. It's really interesting. I highly suggest watching it. Nice. I think it was on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's on something else now. It's called My Octopus Teacher.
You gotta check that out. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good.
I love the one-liners we come up with sometimes. It's like, octopuses don't have culture.
Look, we're having a fun conversation. See, this is fun times. I mean, how many animals possibly could have been seeded here by like asteroids? You know, like carrying something.
Yeah.
You know, or even like they came in on a massive chunk of ice that's in a core of an asteroid, and they were
they recently actually found where I think it was the Japanese, either the Japanese or the Chinese. There's an asteroid or a comet that they were taking photos of, and the spectrograph actually says that it's got everything of everything in the coma that could be the prerequisites to DNA, like all the chemicals,
like the
all
starter
the
kit for planet
yeah,
building.
Yeah, exactly.
What
So
if there's
literally,
like a alien civilization out there
hit,
just popping these out randomly and shooting them off into space and being like,
yeah,
well, sending one out. We'll check on it soon.
It's like the arachnids, man, from
yeah,
Starship Troopers.
Well,
again.
That's what I'm thinking the Tarantuloids will do. They'll start shooting big glowing balls of stuff, and Buenos Aires is going to get wiped out.
Get wiped out.
And then Johnny Rico is going to bring the pain to the bugs.
I love that movie.
I do.
I need to rewatch that. Apparently.
Oh, have you not seen that movie?
I haven't, man. It's been years.
I was so excited. They were at Dragon Con one year, and I made sure I went and got my photo with them.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have y'all seen the what is it? Hell something, the PlayStation game that just came out, Helldivers?
Helldivers,
yeah.
yeah.
Apparently that's just like a huge knockoff.
Yeah.
Like it's really got the same humor and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bunch of my buddies play it. My kid plays it. I've walked in on it. It's like, we're bringing democracy here to these heathens. It's like, I'm like, what are you playing? He's like, watch me drop a nuke. Oh my God. We could get Space Marines, guys. I mean, that could happen.
Oh Lord, that's a whole other thing.
We do have a Space Force. Did we forget about Space Force?
Yeah.
What are they up to? Are they doing?
We'll never know.
Yeah, we won't know. They'll be up in space. Yeah, it's interesting to see how life could take, because it's like if we're just antennas, what else could like just pick up the broadcast? Like I think of like Galaxy Quest and the big rock monster.
Yeah. Dude, it makes me wonder about like maladies that people suffer from, like schizophrenia. Right? Are these people just picking up multiple signals? You know, at the same time, like their antennas. It's like when you're like on the radio. No one's going to know what this means because there's no use the radio anymore. But if you were on the old-fashioned radio back in the olden days, you would have to like go through the channels and listen to like all the static. And sometimes the channels would overlap each other, and you get one song and another song, and
the original mashups.
How to explain it like that.
You can get some good songs mixed up, especially if you're driving down south, mixed in with like a good Christian gospel, mixed in with like some rock music,
old timey preaching and
like AC/DC.
And modern rock overlapping each other. And tell me if you had that going on in your head 24/7, you wouldn't go crazy.
That's fair. That's fair. So to swing it back around,
where are we going now?
Bigfoot. So if he's an antenna, he's picking up some stuff, you know? Like, I'm just curious now, like, if we're all, like, the biological signals pick up stuff, right? Minus Houston's dog. I'm curious of, like, you know, if that's possible, if that's what's happening, maybe portal jumping's a thing now, you know, maybe. Or we get too close to other antennas, and that's why, you know, telepathy can happen.
Yeah, I mean,
at what point am I supposed to ground y'all?
I don't know. Am I making sense to you? That's what should be scary. If that.
I don't know.
Yeah, we said it a lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
you get two, different antennas near each other. There's times you tell me. I've seen you talk to your cats, Randy. I've seen.
Oh, dude, I'm on a wavelength with my cats sometimes.
See,
And random birds.
Yeah.
I've seen more wild animals probably in Randy's apartment than I've seen in the wild.
I mean, I remember I come down and he was just like, "Here's my crow, Poe," and I'm like,
yeah.
He had the possum
Snapping
for a
turtles,
while.
Possums.
You had a possum in your front pocket for a while.
Yep.
You were
Podrick. Yep. Podrick the possum. Yep.
What in the Appalachian is going on down there?
I let him go. He survived. Yeah, birds. A lot of birds. People bring me birds when they find baby birds in the spring.
Does that happen a lot?
Oh yeah, people find them on the. Well, it's usually when they're fledglings and they're actually supposed to be on the ground learning how to fly. But there's been a few times where they've actually found them and they've been. It's where their siblings have knocked them out of the nest and they bring them to me when they're little, and we've raised them.
So, in this, I don't even know like whole idea you guys have.
The absolute. We're getting back to the absolute.
Absolute. That's yeah. I was trying to think of that.
What do you think Bigfoot thinks of the absolute?
He runs it. He is the source. It is only just one. We just keep seeing one, but he keeps.
I hope. You know what? That would be the biggest kicker of it all. If it is just one, just teleporting around. But you know how many?
It's like Nightcrawler from X-Men.
But a lot of people think that's what it is, though. That it's one Sasquatch running around everywhere.
I saw that today actually because I saw a map on Twitter where people were saying like all the different spottings in the United States, and they were like, "Oh, he gets around." It's like it wasn't meant to be just one guy. It's like what the heck?
Yeah,
idiots.
This goes back to that conversation we had the other day, Houston.
But like when I was a kid, I would think I never really thought about them as like a family unit or anything like that until I got more involved 10 years ago. That's when I was like talking with Randy and starting to actually like learn stuff that I was like, oh yeah. But I do remember as a kid that I kind of thought there was only one Bigfoot and it was up in the, the Northwest.
The Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
Just like that's where the Bigfoot is, But
I mean, I was like 20 before I ever got my first real report. So up until then, I was kind of in the same regard to
It was just one.
It was just not there's just one, but it was something that was always in the Pacific Northwest.
Have you told that story? Your first report that like someone ever brought to you?
I don't know if I ever not.
I don't know. So you're.
I'll leave for another episode.
For another night.
I was going to ask a serious question about the absolute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't sound like it, but it is a serious question. Like, so like an ant, you do think an ant is an antenna, right? Like they would have their
everything would be conscious to some degree. Plants, animals, stones, rocks. It's the whole religion of like animism from the ancient, Japan, of that everything has its own, consciousness and existence.
Okay.
And when it goes back to the absolute is understanding what being everything is.
That's just so. Brain's gonna hurt.
I mean, I understand it. It's definitely more just Buddhism than I don't know. I figure like it's more that than it is science, or I know you talk about.
It's more like animism to me than anything.
It's weird stuff. But I mean, like I don't know. I was about to say it's like almost like an ant colony because like they all listen to the one fucking queen.
The hive mind.
Yeah, the hive mind, but not really.
Would that really bother you if God was a hive mind?
No. I mean, like...
It would be reassuring to me, like...
Oh, so someone is watching. You're like, good. Someone's...
Well, it's like I'm part of a bigger
thing.
You know what I mean?
So what do you think about... Go ahead, Houston.
I would just say no matter what any of this, like, what any of this is true or not, like...
Yeah.
Let me put it a different way. Any of these things that we just laid out in different like scenarios, I think it is saying like you're part of a bigger thing, whether that is a hive mind, whether that is absolute or whatever. Like, I mean, I don't think, again, any type of creation is a mistake, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think we know exactly. Obviously, we don't know everything exactly to point
we
out
don't know how the sausage is
why,
really
but I don't think it was to say that we're not part of a bigger thing.
So, what do you guys think when they say in the like kind of the real conspiracy talks where like the aliens are using us as vessels?
Oh, that goes back to
siphoning spirits, our souls and stuff.
That goes back to, I got to say this for Houston's because I know Houston doesn't know about this. That goes back to Bob Lazar from the Area 51 back in the 80s.
Yeah.
He said that when he was given his debrief, basically, that in the paperwork it said the aliens look at us as containers. Or no, I'm sorry, vessels. They use that word exactly, vessels. That we are vessels for something else. So
does that mean they're not part of the absolute then? You know what I mean? Like, did they get so advanced they broke away?
Maybe there's.
How do we know that they don't see themselves as vessels?
Well, maybe they are Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Maybe that's their way of saying that these are sentient. This is a sentient species.
I think that's why
maybe they have different absolutes. I mean, maybe they're just Mormon. It's like, you go have your absolute, we'll have ours over here.
For my D&D fans out there, I was speaking with my girlfriend about this, and she was like, it sounds like a beholder. Sounds like we're in the brain of a beholder. They like dream shit up and create another beholder. Like, that's what she calls the absolute, just a big beholder.
And that gets into a lot of quantum physics recently, starting to talk about, that we're living inside of a black hole, the whole universe is, and that every universe is within a black hole.
What then? Hold on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the evidence is pointing towards we're inside of a black hole. Our universe is inside of a black hole.
So are we just seeing what the end then, like what the last piece of the universe is before it went in then? Or we're just in there?
No, our whole universe lives within that black hole. That's how universes are built. As the black hole, think of it this way.
Because the black hole pulls in everything.
From this perspective, it's pulling in from another universe, but we're seeing the expansion of our universe.
Okay. But we have black holes that are pulling from our universe.
Yes. And they're making many universes.
Oh, no. Okay.
At least in this theory. We would be part of what would be called a greater hyperverse.
The hyperverse. I haven't heard you say that in a long time.
Yeah.
It's a name I haven't heard in a very, very long time.
It's true, all of it.
I mean, that's wild to think about. Because then it's just like,
I'm just not going to think about that one.
Yeah, like I'm going to be thinking about that when I go to sleep tonight.
Well, and then think about it from the context of what if that black hole, what we conceive as a black hole that is our universe, is the absolute for us. Like that's what you return back to.
What do they call
that consciousness? The consciousness of that absolute. That.
So would that mean like almost every black hole is an absolute?
Every black hole would be a god unto itself in a sense from that perspective, yeah.
And the black hole at the center of the Milky Way galaxy is called the Great. Isn't it referred to as the Great
Devourer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay, so the black holes are the gods. I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah. That's freaky now to think about. Now that's in that context.
Well, think about it from this perspective. If everything has a consciousness, every magnetic field, every biomagnetic field has a consciousness per se.
Mm-hmm.
Then if what would happen as a black hole absorbs all that? It's just absorbing all those fields into a broader, bigger field.
Okay.
Which you could say is absolute.
It would be absolute, wouldn't it?
It would be an absolute field.
Well, everyone, thanks for listening to this episode.
Like, I don't like this.
I'm out on this one. I was waiting for us to get on the Matrix. Because I don't like that one either.
Yeah. I mean, people have been getting on that kick a lot lately.
I do think it was since the movie, which is kind of lame. It's like that gave them that kind of idea.
There's just like, I think people see a lot of coincidence, and now that we have like cell phones and in so much communication that like people are seeing weird things.
Yeah.
There are some weird stuff that does get caught on camera, though. I will say that's real weird. Like people just frozen in time, like just like. I don't know if you've seen that recently.
I've seen that, but like I said, I question everything I see at this point. Even before AI, it's like, man, people have Photoshop. Like, who knows?
Yeah, what they're doing. Yeah, yeah, you can do a lot now with a laptop.
Oh God, AI has ruined everything.
Maybe we need to talk about the AI apocalypse next.
That would probably be a good idea. Like,
yeah. But should we? What's it called? What's something basculous? If you oppose it, like if there's like a theory, I forget what it's called. Something's basculous, but it's about AI taking over, and the idea that the fear of don't speak outward against AI right now, because if it does happen, it will know that you are against it and will destroy you. And that there's been lots of people donating to AI research just in case, being like, I donated to your development.
Cowards.
Oh, wow. I'm baked if that's true.
Oh yeah, same.
I've been pretty anti AI
racist.
Oh. Well, that's our show for this week, folks. I hope we left you with some good brain experiments to sit down and think on your drive, or have some good shower thoughts. When you think about weird stuff in the shower,
If they're thinking about us during their shower time, we're I don't know.
There's always that one.
Remember, you can reach out to us through our email, in the links in the description, I guess, down there. If you have any encounters or anything you'd like us to talk about, please write to us. We'd love to hear to you. And also, August 16th this year, for our 3rd annual Wild Man Encrypted Convention down in McMinnville, Tennessee. Come down and join us. Get a lot of amazing guest speakers, and guests just attending. A lot of amazing vendors. Yeah, we got a lot of podcasts, like you said.
Yeah, I think there's like 6 podcasts coming now.
Yeah, we'll have to talk to them. I'm excited about that. It's gonna be a fun year. Year. So hopefully we'll see some people that heard about it through this podcast. So have a great night, guys. Talk to y'all later.
See ya.